Imagine a world where God asks a father to sacrifice his only son. This is the chilling tale of Abraham and Isaac, a story that has captivated and confounded people for centuries. Abraham, an old man with no children, was promised by God that he would have a son. Miraculously, his wife Sarah gave birth to Isaac when she was 90 years old. Abraham loved his son dearly, and they shared a close bond. Years later, God put Abraham to the ultimate test. He commanded Abraham to take Isaac, his only son, to a mountain and sacrifice him as a burnt offering. Abraham was devastated, but he obeyed without question. He packed his donkey with wood and took Isaac on a 3-day journey to the place God had chosen. As they reached the mountain, Abraham built an altar and laid wood on it. He then bound Isaac and placed him on the altar, ready to sacrifice him. Just as Abraham was about to raise the knife, God's angel called out to him from heaven and stopped him. God told Abraham that he knew he feared God because he had not withheld his son. He then showed Abraham a ram caught in a thicket and told him to sacrifice it instead of Isaac. Abraham was overjoyed, and he named the place "The Lord Will Provide." God kept his promise to Abraham. Isaac had many children, and through them, the nation of Israel was born. Abraham's descendants became the ancestors of Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world. The story of Abraham and Isaac is a powerful reminder of God's love and faithfulness. It teaches us that even in the darkest of times, we can trust in God's plan. It also shows us the importance of obedience and sacrifice, even when it is difficult. This story teaches us to trust in God, even when it seems impossible. Sarah was a strong and resilient woman who had faced many challenges in her life. She had been barren for many years, but she never lost faith in God's promise to give her a child. When she finally gave birth to Isaac, she loved him dearly and cherished every moment with him. After a long and fulfilling life, Sarah died at the age of 127. Abraham was devastated by her loss and mourned her deeply. He wept for his beloved wife and could not bear to be without her. Abraham was a foreigner in the land of Canaan, and he did not have a place to bury his wife. He approached the Hittites, the people who lived in the land, and asked them to sell him a piece of land for a burial site. The Hittites were impressed by Abraham's wealth and power, and they offered him a choice tomb from among their best. But Abraham refused. He wanted to buy a specific piece of land, the cave of Machpelah, which was owned by a man named Ephron. After some negotiation, Ephron agreed to sell the cave to Abraham for a large sum of money. Abraham paid the price and buried Sarah in the cave. Sarah's death was a great loss to Abraham, but her memory lived on. She was a woman of faith, courage, and love, and her legacy continues to inspire people today. This story teaches us that love is eternal, even in death. Abraham, a man of great faith, faced the challenge of finding a suitable wife for his beloved son, Isaac. He feared that a Canaanite woman would not be a good influence on his son. So, he tasked his most trusted servant with a crucial mission: to travel to Abraham's homeland and find a virtuous woman for Isaac. The servant, filled with both excitement and trepidation, embarked on his journey. He prayed fervently to God for guidance, asking for a sign to identify the chosen one. At a well outside of town, the servant witnessed a remarkable scene. A beautiful young woman named Rebecca, graceful and kind, offered him a drink of water and even watered his camels, a task that would have taken hours. The servant knew instantly that she was the one. Rebecca, intrigued by the stranger, was equally smitten. She eagerly agreed to marry Isaac, and the servant, overjoyed, returned to Abraham with the good news. Isaac, unaware of the events that had transpired, was out in the fields when he saw a caravan approaching. As the camels drew closer, he saw Rebecca, and it was love at first sight. Rebecca, veiled and shy, was equally captivated by Isaac. They were married, and their union brought joy and comfort to Isaac, who had been grieving the loss of his mother Sarah. The story of Isaac and Rebecca is a timeless tale of love, faith, and divine intervention. It reminds us that true love can blossom in the most unexpected ways, and that sometimes the best plans are those guided by a higher power. This story teaches us to trust in God's plan and true love will find its way. God promised Abraham that he would have a son, even though Abraham and his wife, Sarah, were very old. To their surprise, Sarah gave birth to a son named Isaac. Abraham loved Isaac dearly, and they shared a special bond. Years later, God tested Abraham's faith in a truly surprising way. God asked Abraham to sacrifice his beloved son, Isaac. Abraham was heartbroken, but he obeyed God's command. Just as Abraham was about to sacrifice Isaac, God stopped him and provided a ram for the sacrifice instead. Abraham had many other children, including a son named Ishmael. He also had many grandchildren and great-grandchildren. After a long and eventful life, Abraham passed away at a very old age. He was buried with his beloved wife, Sarah, in a special cave. Isaac, Abraham's son, also had a fascinating life. He married a woman named Rebekah, and they had twin sons named Esau and Jacob. Esau was a skilled hunter, while Jacob was more comfortable staying at home. One day, Esau was very hungry, and Jacob offered him a delicious meal in exchange for his birthright. Esau, not thinking carefully, agreed. This decision would have a huge impact on his life and the lives of his descendants. You won't believe how Isaac outwitted his enemies. Click here to find out why.